Welcome to the video lecture series Basic Electronics, paper code EC101201. Myself, Mrs. Mopali Roy, Assistant Professor, EC Department, Naroda Institute of Technology. This is my lecture 17. In the previous lecture, we are discussing about various types of CE, CB, CC mode, input and output characteristics and its uses. So, today's lecture, we are comparing these CB, CC and CE mode configurations comparisons. So what is that? There are various types of characteristics of this one, that is input impedance, output impedance, current gain, voltage gain, power gain, phase reversal and the applications. So depending on this one, whatever the value or whatever the conditions of this CB, CC and CE mode, we are discussing first. So what is that? In case of input impedance, in the CB mode, it is very low. That means input impedance is very low for CB. In CE, that means in common emitter, it is medium. That means input impedance is very medium. And in case of CC, that means in common collector, input impedance is very high. In case of output impedance, just opposite. That means CB, in case of common base, output impedance is high. Common emitter, for both input and output impedance, both are in medium. And in case of CC, output impedance is very low. Current gain, in case of common base, current gain is very low. But in case of common emitter and common collector, both the cases, current gain is very high. In case of voltage gain, common base and common emitter, both the cases, it is very high condition. But in case of CB, it is unity. That means the value of voltage gain is 1. In case of voltage gain, power gain, CB is medium. That means power gain is medium for CB. CC, it is very high. CE, it is very high. That means power gain is very high for CB mode, common emitter mode. CC mode, it is very low. In case of phase reversal, phase reversal is happening only in case of CE. That means common emitter, the phase reversal happening. In case of common base and common collector, there is no phase reversal. CB is applied for the AF amplifier. The CE, that means common emitter, is applicable for voltage and power amplifier, and CC is independent matching. So this is the comparison between CB, CC and CE mode configuration. Next, we are discussing about transistor. That means one uses of transistor, that is transistor as a switch. So first, when a transistor is used as a switch, it is usually required to be brought alternative in the saturation and cutoff region. Obviously, we have to alternate this one. That means the cutoff region and saturation region. What is that? What is the working of a switch? Switch means on and off. The meaning of the switch is on and off. So that means transistor works like on and off condition. So what is that? When the saturation condition, that means it should carry heavy current. In case of saturation condition, it carry heavy current. Whatever the IV characteristics we are the previous lecture we are discussing, we can see in case of saturation region, it's have heavy current. So the voltage drop across the transistor is as near to 0 as possible. It may consider as closed loop. That means the switch is closed now and current can flow. Current can flow. That means if it is a switch, closed switch, that means if we supply a voltage, we are getting a current. So in the saturation region, it's a closed switch. In case of cutoff region, we are giving some supply, but we are not getting current. So with respect to the voltage, we are not getting current. That is the criteria of the cutoff region. That means if it is an open loop, then if we are in any open circuit, if we are giving any type of voltage, we are not getting any current. So cutoff region, that means it is a open switch. So when cutoff condition, it should carry almost no current, so that it may be considered to be an open loop. So suppose this is a circuit. See, their base is in the base we are giving some supply. So the input and base is connected with VCC. See, this VCC is connected there. This is our input VCC, and the base emitter voltage VEB is must be 0.7 volt, because below 0.7 volt it is just like a open loop. It is just like a open loop. So the base emitter junction is in forward bias. This is obviously in forward bias. Base collector junction is also in forward bias, because from there we are giving the supply. Transistor is always fully on, that means saturation region. A condition, if we are giving this condition, then it is obviously saturation condition, and that means transistor is fully on. Max current, collector current is IC, that is IC equals to VCC by RL. This VCC by RL is equals to our IC. If VCE is 0, that means ideal saturation region, that means in cutoff region. When ideal saturation, then VCE is obviously 0. That means V out is equals to VCE, that is equals to out. That means whatever the V out we are getting there, that means this is 0 there. So the transistor is operate as a closed switch. So this is work like a closed switch. So in case of saturation condition, it's closed. If it is cutoff region, that means below 7.7 volt. If it is below 7 volt, 0.7 volt, then it is in cutoff region and it works like an open switch. If it is above 0.7 volt, then it is a closed switch, because this is the saturation condition. So depending on cutoff condition and saturation condition, it's depending that whether whatever it is, closed switch or open switch. That means transistor is a switch. So for next one, we have a effect of the transistor, that is called Aldi effect. So what is that? The Aldi effect or base width modulation. That means from the name Aldi effect or base width modulation, that means it have some effect on the width of the base. Width of the base of a transistor. So this Aldi effect is a condition of a transistor depending on the base. The Aldi effect is the variation in the width of the base in a bipolar transistor due to a variation in the applied base to collector voltage. See, this is our 1p-NPN transistor, and this is the width of the depletion. This is the depletion width for emitter base and base collector. See, there we are supplying 2 voltage. It's in forward bias, it's in reverse bias. So when it is in reverse bias, the width is wider, and if it is forward bias, so width is very narrower. Okay, and see, this is also a volt supply. See, VBE is same for both the cases, but we are changing VCE. See, this is VCE1 and this is VCE2. That means reverse bias voltage is changes. See, in case of VCE1, the width is very not like this wider, but in case of VCE2, it is wider, more wider than VCE1. That means a greater reverse bias across the collector base junction increases the collector base depletion width. If VCE increase, VCB is increased too. So from this we can say that VBE is less than VCE1, much less than VCE2. See, VBE is less, VCE is few greater from VBE, but VCE is VCE2 is much greater than this one. That's why the width of this depletion layer is wider from this one. This is wider, but this one is more wider than this one, because of which one VCE2 is much greater than VCE1. So the emitter base junction is unchanged because of the voltage is VEE same. This one is same, VBE is same for both the condition. So this width and this width are same as we told before. So what happened there? The base narrowing have two consequent that effect of the current. See, this is VBE, this is for VCE. So if we are applying more voltage, VCE, that means the reverse voltage. If we are applying more reverse voltage, then what happened? See, this is our active region, this is our saturation region. So there is a lesser change of recombination within the smaller base region. Base region is very small, so there have a lesser change. The change gradient is increased across the base, and consequently the current of the minority carriers injected across the emitter junction increase. The countervals, the early effect is lightly doped at the collector region. Obviously it's happening in the collector region. The width of the base emitter depletion layer is become wider if we are giving more and more reverse bias voltage, and heavily doped emitter region. So in case of early effect, there are no effect on the emitter region. They have a very big effect on the collector region because we are giving more reverse bias voltage. So this is called the early effect for our transistor. So transient to the characteristics are at the large voltage extrapolate backward to the intercept the voltage axis at the voltage is called early voltage VA. This is called early voltage VA. See, that means it starts from there. If we are aligning this point, so this is called early voltage VA and it is in negative voltage VA, early negative voltage VA. So this is called early effect of a transistor. Next, we have to discuss about DC load line for a transistor. DC load line, what is that? The DC load line of a transistor, one need to know only its cutoff and saturation point. It is a straight line joining these 2 points. For the CE circuit, the load line is drawn there. A is the cutoff point and B is the saturation point. Okay, let's see. A is the cutoff point, B is the saturation point. See, this is the cutoff point, this is our saturation point. This A is the cutoff point, this is the active region and this is the saturation region. So the voltage equation of the collector emitter is VCC is equals to ICRL plus VCE. From this we can write that IC is equals to VCC by RL plus VEE by RL. So considering the following two particular case, when IC is equals to 0, then for this equation IC equals to 0, then VCE is equals to VBV, that VCC, that is the cutoff point A, that means this one. When IC equals to 0, that means IC equals to 0. So this is in the cutoff region. When VCE is equals to 0, then IC is equals to VCC by RL. When VCC is equals to 0, then IC is equals to VCC by RL. That means saturation point B. This is saturation point B, this B. Obviously, the load line can be drawn if only VCC and RL is known. That means this VCC and RL, if we know these two value, then only we can write. That means when VCC is equals to VEE, then this point is drawn as the cutoff point. So we have to mark 1 point in that condition. And when VCCE is 0, that means this one, and IC is equals to VC by RL, that means after calculating VC by RL, whatever the value we are getting, that is we have to mark there as the B point, that is IC. So after getting these 2 points, we are connecting a line there, and this is called DC load line. Indicating the slope of the load line AB, that means this A and B load line is equals to minus 1 by RL. Obviously this RL, so the slope of this one minus 1 by RL. It is a linear equation similar to the Y equals to minus MX plus C. So this is a straight line equation. What is minus MX plus C? Y equals to MX plus C. And the graph of this equation is a straight line whose slope, that means M is equals to minus 1 by RL. That means this one, this AB is equals to minus 1 by RL. So that is we are determining here as the M. So M is equals to minus 1 by RL. So that is our DC load line for our transistor if we want to draw it. So this is our load line. Now transistor load line analysis. We want to analyze this one. So in the transistor circuit, analyze it is necessary to determine the collector current for the various VCE voltage. One method, we can determine the collector current at any desired VCE voltage from the output characteristics. Obviously, we are getting it from the output characteristics, because in case of input, we are not getting the output current or output voltage. So obviously, we have to calculate all these things depending on the output characteristics. More conveniently, we can use load line analysis to determine the operating point. So this is, suppose, our one circuit, transistor circuit. We are giving our input there. This is our base emitter junction is our input. We are determining there is no signal, and this VBB is the input there. There is IC is equals to current, and emitter and collector is, this is our output terminal, and we are supplying here a VCC. So considering the common emitter NPN transistor circuit, we are shown the figure that there is no input signal. See, this is no input signal. Applying KVL in this output circuit. Okay, so in this output circuit, if we are applying KVL, VCE, that means this one, VCE is equals to VCC minus IC into RC. IC into RC. VCE, that means this VCE is equals to VCC minus IC into RC. So from this, when the collector current IC is equals to 0, then the collector emitter voltage is maximum and is equal to the VCC. That is, if we are considering the load line with this one, so the max VCE is equals to VCC minus IC into RC. We are getting from the previous slide, we are getting this one, that is VCE is equals to VCC minus VC into RC. So now we are considering this one. This is our VCC there. So this point is this one, and VCC by RC. From where we are getting this one? So that is equals to, what we can write, that as IC is equals to 0. As IC is equals to 0, then this is equals to VCC. That means VEE is equals to VCC, because this one is multiplied with 0. So this one becomes 0. So VCE is equals to VCC. That means we are comparing this one. So we are getting this point. Now, when collector emitter voltage VCE is equals to 0, that means if this one is equals to 0, if this one is equals to 0, then VCC is equals to IC into RC. So from this, 0 is equals to this one. So max IC is equals to VCC by RC. So max IC is equals to VCC by RC. So this is put there. VCC by RC is getting there. So we are getting these 2 points, this point and this point. Connect this one, and this is our DC load line. This is our DC load line. Now this operating point, how we are getting operating point? This Q. See, there we are mentioning a Q. And see, this is also a Q, and we are connecting a graph. This Q is which one? The zero signal value of IC and VCE is known as operating point. It is called the operating point because various of ICs taken place about this point. That means if we have if we are comparing the IC with respect to the voltage, then we are getting a graph, output characteristic graph, and output characteristic graph is just like this one. If we are changing the value of IB there, then we are getting various value. So in which point it cut, that is called operating point. That means in which point the output characteristic curve cross the DC line, that is called the operating point or Q point or quotient points. It is also called quotient point or Q point. So what is that? In which point the output characteristic cut the value of the DC line, that is called the Q point or quotient point or the operating point. So next, Q point and the maximum undistorted output. Now, the position of the Q point on the DC load line determines the maximum signal that we can get from the circuit before clipping occurs. So see, this is our characteristic graphs. So we are getting various types of graph from this one. See here, when Q is located, this one, this Q1 there, this Q2 there, and this Q3 there, when the Q is located nearer to the cutoff point, signal first started to clip at point A. That means this point. It is called cutoff clipping. That means this one, cutoff clipping. Because the position swing, the signal derives the transistor to cutoff. So this is one condition. In the step by step, we are getting, this is the cutoff, then we are shifting this one, this point is shifted, this one comes there, so this is one graph. This is Q2 comes there, so we are getting a graph there. This is Q3, we are getting a graph there. That means depending on the Q point, we are getting a various types of swing graph from this one. Cutoff clipping, that is called cutoff clipping. So maximum positive swing is ICQ into RAC. That means this one ICQ, this one ICQ into IAC, the RAC. That means the resistance of the AC, resistance of the AC input. So if for the next one, Q2 point, we are discussing about Q1 there. The first figure is the Q1. The first figure is for the Q1, then Q2 for these two, and Q3 for these three. So we are discussing about Q2. If the Q point Q2 is located near the saturation point, see it is the near to the saturation point, then clipping first start at the point B, it is causes by the saturation, and the maximum negative swing is VCEQ there. Let's check once. See this one, this is nearer to the saturation point, so this is starts from B, so this is nearer to the saturation point. So the maximum negative swing VCEQ, and for the Q point Q3 is located at the center of the load line, and the maximum possible output signal of this one is 2 VCEQ. That means the double of this one. This is starting from the first one and ending with the last one. See, starting with the first one and ending with the, that means starting from there and ending with there. So this is the value of this one is, this is VCEQ. If we are getting this one and this one, so the value of this one is 2 VCEQ. So the point Q3 gives the optimum Q point, that is the maximum undistorted signal is 2 VCEQ. So this is, if we are comparing, so A is, if A is much less than or less than B, A is less than B, then maximum possible peak to peak voltage output is 2A. If the operating point are located at A greater than B, if it is A less than B, then 2A. If it is A greater than B, then it is 2B. That means 2A, 2B. If it is A is greater, then 2B. If B is greater, then 2A. When the operating point is located at the center of the load line, that means if in middle, then the maximum understood peak to peak signal is 2A is equals to 2B is equals to VCC. That means this one 2 VCQ. That means the total value is in double form. So this is the Q point and the maximum undistorted output and its comparison of this one, that if it is in middle, that means it have maximum peak to peak voltage, that is 2 VCEQ. So that is the up to this lecture. This is the end of the lecture 17. If you have any types of query, this is my mail ID and WhatsApp number. Feel free to contact me. Thank you.